This is Straight Outta Jersey with Jersey Jay-Z. This guest was a made man in the Colombo crime family. His crew was one of the deadliest around during the Colombo Wars. He was the protege of Colombo Captain Greg the Grim Reaper Scarpa. Today, he has changed his life around. He's a trainer, author, and inspiring actor, starring alongside Robert De Niro in The Irishman. Straight Outta Jersey welcomes Larry Mazza.
Hey, Joe Zap.
What's going on, Mr. Mazza? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm over here in beautiful Atlantic City.
That's right. AC placing some nice bets.
Yeah, of course. I'll be watching that basketball game tonight. That's for sure.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, we got to see the Knicks.
I'm going to call you Joe Zap. I'm sure
everyone does call me that too.
We had a Joe Sapp who I really loved. I mean, Joe Sapp was a great guy. I'm still friends with his daughter, Carolyn. So, yeah.
Right, cool.
So you're Joe Zapp.
I want to let everyone know that your book, The Life, is available. On the bottom, go to larrymazza-thelife.com. They can purchase the book. It's available also on Amazon. If you purchase it through Larry, he will autograph it for you too, correct?
Yes, and you get the pictures, which are nice, because there's so many people in the story. It's nice to put a face to the most important characters in the book, as well as the back. I put a glossary, I guess it's called, or an index at the end, where it tells who everybody was and where they, somewhat where they are today.
100%.
I try to be nice about that as much as I could.
Yeah. So, Larry, we were going back and forth. Obviously, there were some issues with little Linda saying some things. And actually, I got to speak to little Linda. She called me.
Right.
It was a very heartfelt conversation. I understood a little bit more about her, where she's coming from. I did kind of have some say, hey, look, there's some things here that doesn't add up. She tried to explain, but obviously she had a book, and I'm actually going to pull up one of the transcripts from her book we could talk about here. And she brings it up straight up. She says, Larry was a black belt. He felt that karate would bring the best thing for Joey. Larry played a big part in helping my brother come out of his shell and learn about being social. Larry did well. My brother did well in karate. So she's telling you because basically, I asked her about that. She goes, oh, Larry wasn't really his godfather, but that is not true. As we can see here, we got evidence in her book. So tell me about it.
Well, I was his godfather, and he picked me over everybody else in his family or any of the guys from the crew. And there's a reason for that, because he looked up to me as a young little boy that I did put into karate. Also took him to ball games. When we played ball and we played field hockey, I had him on my team. So he could learn. Yeah, we would play against our younger brothers. But it was like a weekly event. Saturdays, Sundays, we would play all sports. So, I used to take him to the Met games, took him to the movies. I did things that, nobody was doing for him, because it wasn't typical for a gangster to take his kid to the movies, I guess. I don't know. But I did. So she saw that, and she also spoke about the closeness she felt to me, that I was a good, definitely a good influence on her. I was somewhat a protector for her also. And it's all there in her book,
In her book, yes.
For her to come out. But here's the thing. The one thing I'll give her through all this nonsense between me and her, there's also the one between, obviously, me and her half brother that's going on also. And I don't know where that's going. Or hopefully, all these things coming out will end all of that too. But I get little Linda trying to protect her father's name. Okay. But she goes over the line when she says and calls me these bad names and says bad things about me, when it's as obvious as the day is long. I'm not a speck on his back as far as those name calling things. Murderer, not even close.
She also mentioned about that she said with her mother, she was very tiptoeing around her mother. She said my father didn't really know about Larry and my mother, but obviously in her book right here, I'm going to
not only they had the book, and then the court transcripts, even worse.
Court transcripts. It said Larry was around the house more than anybody else, even more than Greg Jr. She says Joey loved Larry, my mother loved Larry, and she says it in her book how much she found out later that you and you and Linda had a affair.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But
go ahead.
the court transcript was the most where the Mike Vecchione, the DA, asked Linda. I think you have that too. Asked Linda about Larry, and she says, "Well, I told Greg there was this good-looking delivery boy. She said I'd like to take him to bed, and he said okay." So right there in the court transcripts for the whole, and plus, I thought it was tapes between me and her that the feds obviously had. And it was, it could have, if he really didn't know, that could have got me killed.
Yeah. 100%.
So, but it's obvious. Everybody, that heard the tapes knows we weren't hiding anything, and in her own words. So for them to say that and call me a liar for saying that he knew, their own words clear that up.
Yep.
Not only in Linda's book, also in the other book that same writer wrote, Mafia Son, also the court transcripts. So, but getting back to my point, I do understand. You're going to protect your family, your father, but you have to be realistic about it.
Yes.
Just don't throw rocks at that glass house.
Correct. 100%.
Okay. You got your own skeletons. We all do. There's a lot of other people I talk to in the life still that are active. Some are somewhat active. Some are not active. Some on the shelf because their brothers flipped. I mean, it's the whole world now. But there's a lot of intermingling still. I run into people occasionally, and it's always, I got to say, fairly pleasant. They don't attack me. They, now if it was right on 13th Avenue, yeah, they probably would have to be a little bit more vicious, or whatever the word you want to call. Verbally vicious is what I'm talking about. Yeah. But when I run into them and say, a restaurant in Florida, they're very pleasant. They don't bring up the past. They don't, and again, there's been a change in life. There's been a change, it's in no walk of life should anybody be a snitch. I know that it's not nice. Okay. But I still to this day have never called a cop in my life. Never. Okay. And I've had beefs. I had situations in business, but
yeah, let me ask you.
No, I'm trying to find the right word. Some people made a comment on one of my other podcasts that those guys that are talking to me are as bad as me. No, they're not. They're just smarter than the average bear. They know the circumstances. They know what has become of the life, and it's not. You can't pinpoint the person who caused it all. They said the Colombo family on my case, there was a log jam at the door trying to come in and make deals.
Wow.
They turned guys down. They turned guys down that are in the street today that tried to make deals.
Oh
okay, and that gets out. That gets out. And if I said their names now, they'd have a problem. And or they say I'm lying. But that's
Let me ask you, because people ask me when you got out of jail, did you have a tough time transitioning back to normal life?
No, I didn't, because of my supportive family. That is very important. Okay. If I was alone, if I came out alone and trying to make ends meet and trying to get jobs in the community, whatever, but I had that basic mother, father, sister, brother, extended family, in-laws that were all supportive. So I tried to do that for people when I heard they were coming home.
Okay.
Including Greg Jr. I mean, I did whatever I could to be helpful, because I know they need that. You need that. He had some family too. He had family that was helping him, but it's all just so disrupted right now. Nobody's talking to each other. And I'm not the common denominator. I promise that. But there's a reason for it, and it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah.
So, but I started working in gyms. I wound up in a resort where I was, doing activities, the gym stuff, but they liked me, and they had an opening for a manager of one of the departments. And that's when I really started doing well. I was still doing the gym stuff, doing that. Now I was able to save up some money, open my own gym, and I just had a ton of clients. I was really working literally around the clock, training people, doing martial arts classes. So I worked real hard to reestablish myself as somewhat successful.
Yes.
And then when I met my wife, she was retiring as from vice president of a very big company, very smart. She did well for herself. We opened a supper club.
Mhm.
And we built it from, actually, it started out as a florist and a wine bar. Before
Okay.
we knew it, we brought in music. We needed a bigger place. We just kept growing and growing. And to a full steam supper club, music every single night, crowds every night. Eventually, after 7, 8 years, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Okay. It was taking me away from the gym. We sold it.
Mhm.
So that was positive. And, you know, I also never really stopped with my sports consultant. I
Mhm.
still do that. I have the inside straight. So, you know, and I also saw that some comments I heard from back home that, you know, I'm flaunting it a little too much. The only reason I'm doing that is to get under people's skin. If I
Yes.
think they're jealous and that's why they're slandering me, I'm going to flaunt it.
Yes.
I'm not
You
going
know?
to hold back. That'll make them more irrational and more stupid and more,
Mhm.
you know, make more idiotic comments come out, you know. And then there was comments made about my wife that I won't even dignify with a response
Mhm.
because it's in ridiculous things to say. She's very good to everybody I brought around. We had Sunday football at the house. Everybody was invited, and some of the people, that are making comments were there. So anyway, so
Yeah, and I know, like I said, and you did. Some people you are getting under their skin. They kind of want to throw up the white flag and say, "Hey, we don't want to go into it anymore." And I understood, but you are very successful. You got the book. You're doing stuff with the movies. You're trying to get everything going. Let me ask you, when you had got out of jail and started doing your business,
Mhm.
did people, were they scared to do business with you because of your past?
No, they're not, and I'm going to tell you why. I never hid my past.
Okay, that's
Okay,
good.
when I started getting close with people at the gym, or like I was training a lot of older people.
Mhm.
Okay, because I hooked up with this woman, Charlotte McLaughlin. She just passed away, well, a few years ago.
Mhm.
And her husband was a doctor, surgeon. Her son is a surgeon. All her daughters are nurses, and there's several of them, like 6, 7 kids. Their grandkids. I trained the whole family. They supported me so much, and that at one point I told Charlotte, she called me a saint. You're so good with us. I said, Charlotte, I got to tell you a little something. I told her about my past. And she says, I don't care. You're still a saint. She says, but you know what? She said this to me. And she's on the lap machine.
Okay.
She says, oh, you always reminded me of The Sopranos. And I told her, I said, excuse my language. I said, shut the fuck up and do another set. She almost dropped the weights. But I trained her whole family. Then I trained lawyers in town. I had to let them know. I trained the judge. As a matter of fact, the judge that was just on my recent case where I had that little beef in my parking lot.
Yes.
Took karate not from my class, but from somebody that teaches karate in my gym.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was a funny twist,
Wow.
But no, so they weren't. And again, there's two lives I lived. I lived a life, up until about 18, college, working, following my father's footsteps. Then I went bad. That's when I went bad. People say I went bad, when I made a decision to make a deal with the government. No, I think that's when I went good again.
Yeah.
I said, enough is enough. This light, what are you going to do? Just throw everybody under the bus. Everybody throws each other under the bus. You're going to wind up dead, in jail forever. So now I'm back out, and it's the Larry probably that I was meant to be. Or somewhere in between, because you could never lose that little thing you got from that life. You can never lose it, To some extent, you're going to carry yourself a certain way. People see it. People come up to me now and say, ask me, are you in the mob? Are you in the movies? They ask me these questions, there's a part you can't get rid of. I get that. But I was very honest about it. And most people said, you know what? Past is the past.
Yep. Past is the past.
Yeah.
Little Linda, I talked to her about coming onto the show with me. And we're talking, but if you can have a conversation with her, what would you say to her to finally wrap it up?
Well, pretty much what I said. If I understand her situation with her father, it's her father. I get it. But my situation with her father is going to stay the same. You know, I feel he did what he did was bad all those years. It's not a role model gangster. He could have done more to help us, including his son. So I have some resent. Now, I didn't spend my life attacking him. I didn't. I said what I said in my story, in my book, and that's how I feel. I say it at the podcast when it comes up. But if she would just, let me say this, I don't hate her. I don't care what she says and what she's doing to me. I'm disappointed. I'm a little hurt. But hate is a big word. And if everything in her book was true or somewhat true of her feelings, it's ridiculous we're going through this.
Yeah. 100%.
Think about it, you know? So,
100%, you know?
But yeah, no, I'm this to me is not a farewell talk, because I'm going to come on with you.
Me, of course.
We'll talk about other stuff, some mob stuff, some politics,
some other stuff, some sports stuff, everything.
You know, whatever, the movies, different things that, you know, if I'm doing anything that's interesting and anybody wants to hear about it. But yeah, I don't need this to go on forever, you know, and the reason I'm doing even this last couple of shows is because I forgot all about it. I never read her book, and it's not because I don't know why I didn't read it. I guess there was nothing I can learn from it. I don't know how it was going to entertain me, you know. I may read a book on Meyer Lansky because I want to know his life story and how he became the highest ranking Jewish gangster ever, you know, something that interests me. And so it's not derogatory to her. I just had no really reason to read it. I know the story already, and nobody could tell the mob part or the war part of it better than me. Her perspective is what it was. But anyway, people started sending to me, and also the court transcripts where the mother admitted it. And now somebody just sent the other book, but I'm not going to go into that one because it's pretty much the same. I don't have to keep doing it, but I think this is a good way for me to at least leave knowing the truth came out. And everything I said is perspective. There's things I said in my book they don't agree with, and that's fine. Okay, they were told something different, or they saw something different after it happened. After the meeting, I was at the meeting. You heard what happened at the meeting after it, but I was there.
Yeah, you were there.
So right. So I'm saying one thing, and then somebody else can see it a different way. It's not a history book. It's not the gospel, according to Larry. It's a story. I lived it. They're not going to agree with everything. They don't have to, and I don't care. I'm not going to agree with everything they say. And they shouldn't care.
Yeah, exactly.
But you start calling these silly, stupid names when you know for real none of those are true. I'm not any of the things they said. So
like Greg Jr. had mentioned, the Nicky Black hit, my father did not drop the gun and bullets and this and that. He's like, but he was not there.
And there was one other guy that was there, my partner, and he knows it's the truth.
Of course. That's what I'm saying.
And again, the guy was really deteriorating from the AIDS. It's not a derogatory. A hit before that, his Tech 9 backfired. We were trying to hit another guy, and the Tech backfired. Now, this is a notorious hitman for years and years and years, and the last two hits were botched. And lucky I had the shotgun, and the police know the story. The report that went into Carmine Sessa knows the story, which we should have never told him every detail of the hit. And he also added things that he didn't say, like, this is for Carmine. We talked about that. So no, there's no way. There is absolutely no way he should be talking about that hit when he was in prison while it was going on.
Yes, 100%.
And we came and told him, and he didn't say anything. I didn't say how your father fucked up with the bullets and all of that. I didn't say that when we went to see him, but it was clear that the shooter who had the shotgun. There's no doubt about that. So I don't know why he's trying to come out with that now, 20 years later. It's silly, and it's going to backfire because too many people know the truth.
Yeah. And it's clear little Linda loved her father. She loved her father.
Yeah.
And all the strong men in her life actually are not there anymore. Between her brother and her father, other men. And I feel bad that way for her. I told her,
I do too.
I
do
totally
too.
understand. Some of the things that people asked me to ask you, and I'm getting questions, and for you to answer, they wanted to know. They said, "Ask Larry, what was a typical day for you in the life? Did you hang out at social clubs? Did you plan something out? What was a typical day in the life of Larry?"
All right. You didn't have to rush out of the house in the morning to get the train to get to your job at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
So typically I would get up, 8 o'clock, and basically around then. I start every day with the gym, whether I played racquetball for 2 hours with my father and Jimmy. Then I lifted weights. So about 12, I was done at the gym. That was my whole morning, playing racquetball, working out. Then usually around 12:30, I'd go pick up Greg. I'd go to his house, or he'd drive, or I'd drive. It didn't matter. It's not like I was the driver. He would drive his car, or he'd jump in mine. He typically liked to have his own car.
Okay.
So we would go to the club together. We got there before everybody else, about 12:30. The second guy there all the time was Bobby Zambati. Bobby Zam got there next. He lived right down the block. And sometimes he was there at the same time, about 12:30. Most of the guys started reporting in. I use that word because they were expected to come every day about 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Greg Jr. would get there at the same time, about 1, with his guys from Staten Island. Later on, they started coming a little later. But for me, now I was there, I'd be taking care of business. I'd have customers coming in and out all day to straighten out figures with the sports or the Shylock monies. I would deal with number runners throughout the day. And I played a lot of gin. Okay. And I got really good at gin. I even won a big tournament. So I played a lot of gin. Then by the end of the day, when I started developing the big sports business, we had to be in the office about 5:30. And I had 4 different offices because you could only have 4 phones per office. If you have more than 4 phones, it became federal. I don't know what the laws are today. This was back then.
Back then, okay.
And because now it's all computer and offshore, so it's really there's no targets anymore, from what I understand. But I would be in the office. The phones would start ringing about 6. The point spreads were out, and we had 4 people online, and I would have a special phone just calling out action and changing the point spreads. But we had, like I said, 4 different offices. So it got real big. We had to have different, and we bounced around. We never stayed in one place too long, because that's the other thing. They would have to watch the place, I want to say, for a month or 6 weeks, whatever the thing was, before they could make a raid. So people started bouncing around a lot. And now about 8 o'clock, we're done with the business. We would go to a sports club a lot, and just watch the games. And then throughout the week, it was Monday through Saturday. We were at the club. Sunday was the only day the club was closed.
Okay.
So that was sort of family day. And again, I spent a lot of time at the beginning at the Scarpa house, including the one in New Jersey later on. But it was juggling love lives at one point, later on. And but basically, that was a typical day for me. I didn't have to wake up in the morning. I took real good care of myself with sports, and and then just spend the day at the club.
Yeah. Okay. We have the 5 families in New York. We got New Jersey, the Cavalcanti family.
Right.
I want to start with the Lucchese family. Did you know, obviously, Gas Pipe? Did you know Gas Pipe?
Yeah.
How was his personality? Was he crazy?
Yes. Well, here's the thing. I didn't have any really dealings with him in the street. He was way above my level, so I wasn't gonna. But once I was in the can and I met him, I saw he was a devious, crazy type of guy.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a little bit out there.
Yeah.
I made a joke. I said he wanted to kill a guy over a tomato. The guy took an extra tomato. He wanted to stab him.
Oh my God.
I talked about it. Yes, come on. Tomato. I'll get you one from the kitchen. We could get extra tomatoes all we want. No, he was a little nutty. I got closer with the Jersey guys, the Riccardi brothers.
Okay. Vinny Ocean. What about Vinny Ocean? Did you know Vinny Ocean?
I know the name. I think I was in around the same time, but I'm not sure if I bumped into him right now. I'd remember, but I do know the name. Damn, that's. But I don't know. But like I said, the Riccardi guys, I got really tight with.
Okay, Riccardi. Okay.
Yeah, they were good, and they were going at war too. They were
Yeah, I
fighting at
think
that time with Gas Pipe and Amuso
yes.
because,
Mhm.
with that Asatoro and that crew. So,
Yeah. My
yeah.
neighbor in Jersey, believe it or not, was Richard Kukinski, the Iceman.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. That was who my neighbor was. So,
Oh, God. Right. Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
yeah.
I heard that name a lot.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they did a movie on him, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
couple movies on him. That was my
Yeah.
neighbor over here.
Yeah. All right.
Seemed
Yeah.
like a
So
nice
no,
guy.
we mingled with, and I did business with a lot of Lucchese guys in the sports business.
Okay.
Grew up with a few. Some of them are still there and worked their way up higher and higher. Did a lot of time, whatever. And I always allude to that. I says those guys that are still living that life and are still or have the delusion that that life is going to bring them fame and fortune and it's going to bring misery at some point. It always does. But those guys have the right to call me anything they want to call me.
Yeah.
And I can live with that. I can live with that. It doesn't bother me. But when other people, like I said, and I'm not going back to her again, I would like to, but there are others that have their own skeletons. I know it. They know it.
Yes.
Their family members did it. Just don't you be the one to call me names.
Exactly.
Yeah. Be smarter than that. Be smarter than that. Be more practical. Be more realistic. And until you have the experience that I have, I don't think you should be, curling those really derogatory names.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
The Bonanno family. What about? I mean, I know Dominic Sicali. He was actually on my show. Did you know him too, Dominic?
I didn't know him in the street. I did not. I heard of him later on. But I'll tell you, the main Bonanno guy that I was really, really close with, Anthony Spiro.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I had my pool room right across the street from him. He had a club. Wow. And then if you go the other direction, Georgie DeChico had a club. So I got real close with him too. And they would come into my pool room almost every day. When I first got there, I made it my business to go see Anthony every day. Got really close with him. We talked. He knew I was doing business with some of his guys with sports right there on Bath Avenue. Same thing with Georgie DeChico. As a matter of fact, he released one of his guys to be with me. It was a little famous meeting we had to have. Greg was there for me. Okay. Georgie DeChico was there for my friend Georgie, who wanted to come and be with us. So they made a formal release right there, and he was put with me. So I was close with that Bath Avenue group. A lot of the younger up-and-coming kids that were going to wind up in the life used to come in my pool room. Some of them still reach out to me today.
Oh, wow.
I see them on Facebook. Larry, you remember me? Whatever they now, I'm not going to say their names on live. But Anthony Spiro, then he started coming in my pool room every day. He'd sit down and have coffee. Even when Greg was there, they would talk. And when I did get that ceremony done for me, Anthony was one of the first people that I was introduced to, and he said something really nice. Really nice. Great. At the introduction. Georgie DeChico was one of them that came in along with Frankie Fabiano. And he spoke about it on his own, unsolicited. He just said, I remember the day they introduced Larry and Jimmy to me, other guys too, but Spiro, I mean, he was as high up as you could get. He was consigliere, So for me to talk to him, there was times where I had a business situation and he would call me over. I'd go across the street and he would start talking to me. I said, Anthony, with all due respect, I think Greg should be here with me. You don't need Greg. He said, we could work, probably because Greg was a little harder on people. He knew that we can, but he was at least an equal to Greg. So he could have spoke to him. But that, he treated me that way. Like I was somebody you could talk to. So that happened a lot. But so Anthony was really, I have a good memory of him.
Okay. What about the Gambino family? Obviously the most famous, John Gotti. Did you have any stories with John Gotti?
Not senior. I met the kid, the son in pastels. I met his daughter in pastels. I had a lot of business with Gambino people in sports. Like I said, Georgie DeChico was a skipper with them. Did a lot of business. But there was one instance that this guy came in and he was supposed to be another bookmaker and he beat us for some serious money. back then,
Okay.
whatever it was, 15, 20,000, 25,000. And we paid him. He comes in the pool room. A few weeks later, he loses about 12,000.
Okay.
He doesn't have the money. And I was usually the type that would convince them to do the right thing. Just, you know, but he takes this attitude that he's with John Gotti.
Oh, God.
I called him all the way to the back of the pool room. I gave him a shot that his friend fell too. That's how hard I hit him. I'm serious. It's like it was. We were laughing about it later because the kid thought he was going to get it next, and he slid down to the floor. He, you know, but we didn't go. He had nothing to do with it. But it was the principle, because I don't care. You're throwing a name around. You just took my money, and now you think you're going to rob me. And I knew I had the backing to do that. I had the right to do that. So you know, they were a little bit funny like that. They took advantage, trying to beat people, not pay. You know. But then there were a bunch in that family too that I did business with that were good. So I shouldn't say that. You know, one of the guys, the old Jewish bookmaker, Bernie Rothman, he passed away now. He was a pharmacist, but retired from that or quit just to become a full-time bookmaker. And he was around Joe Piney. That's a historical. Okay. Yeah. And I met Joe Piney. I had to go to his cafe. Scappy set it up. He had a cafe down in the Alphabet City section of Manhattan, and it was an old-fashioned place. Met him with Bernie and had the blessings to do business together. You know, no limits, just whatever you got to do. And I had a good run with him. I learned a lot from him, Bernie. I learned a lot from another guy named Andy Wilson back in the day. Very, very sharp guy around the Genovese family. He's probably retired today. He did some time, came home, you know, but great guy, great, fantastic guy.
Yep. The Genovese family you mentioned, I'm good friends with Rita. She's Rita the doll. Did you know the Chin at all?
No, there's another one. I mean, I was never on a level that I could, but I dealt with a lot of his people too. And I put in my book, when we had to meet them, it was like going through a maze. We'd have to go up one building, come out the fire escape, go underneath another building, you know, come out a store. It was crazy. And I'm exaggerating a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
But, you know, you had to go. It wasn't like you're just going to pull in and walk into the club. Very secretive, very secretive. And I was away with a lot of them. And the Ida brothers, I met both of them. I forget which one was on 13th Avenue, Joey or Jimmy. But one of the Ida brothers was right there on 13th Avenue.
I think it was Jimmy.
So I saw him a lot and got introduced to him. Greg took me to see him. And I guess it was Jimmy. Joey, man, used to come into the pool room every day.
Wow.
His brother, Jimmy, man, would come in once in a while because they were supporting us during the war. I think I got introduced to Joey also. I can't, I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure on that. But he came up this another alley boy, not our alley boy. That was a real tough guy around Joey, man. So I did a lot of business with them too. And when I was away, I was with some heavyweights from that family. And the last 2 years, even though I was, you know, I was in population, finishing up my time. And again, I didn't go out like a hero. So it was I had to be careful. But I had the backing of a lot of guys that just were disgusted at what happened to the life. And they didn't hold me responsible for the downfall of the mob, you know? And they didn't say very nice things about my boss, you know, and they blamed him. And I said, you know, it is whatever. But
your family, what about Michael Franchese? Did you know Michael?
Well, no, we never got, the timing was off. He was in prison and I was in prison, but I did have dinner with him in California. When I was doing my TV show for Mob TV, and we had a beautiful dinner. He had his wife there. I had Kelly, my wife, and it was cordial, respectful. Talked about his father a little bit. Talked about Greg and my life and stuff. You know, it's like we were old friends that just reacquainted. You know, and you get to know people. I've seen some of his shows. He's seen some of my shows. So you already have a little bit of knowledge of the other person. So it's not, you know, But I like Mike. I think he's a very intelligent guy. Well, how about the scam he did with the gas? Who's better than him?
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
Yeah.
But he's smart. He did find religion again. He's very much into that. I seen a lot of guys do that, become ministers when they were away and stuff, and it just didn't sit right with me. I thought it was phony, but I don't think he's phony. I think he really became born again, or whatever the word is. And I don't think I ever lost God. I just didn't need to find him again. I just, I was a bad guy for a while. But,
yeah. The life today is not the same. It'll never be the same as it was back in your time.
Never happened.
Nope.
Yeah, it's
never
impossible.
Happened. It is impossible. As we just wrap up a little bit with Linda, is there anything else that you want to get your message across that's saying, hey?
No, I think, it would be repetitious. I said it, like I said, I don't have the venom they have. There's venom. It spurts out of their fangs when they're talking about me. And it's unfounded. It's unnecessary. It's easy for me to prove untrue. I could continue doing it with other books and other documents and other things, but enough is enough, I think I stood up for myself.
You did?
And yeah, like I said, this is not the farewell tour, but it's the closing summation.
Yes.
I don't think there's anything else I can do.
I think
other
it's
than their own words. Other than their own words disputing their claims.
Yeah.
So, and again, neither one of us is going to be 100% accurate on every little issue. It's impossible.
Of course. It's perspective. It's perspective.
I'm not going to say this one's lying because it doesn't remember I had a blue shirt on today. Normally I wear black. Oh, no, it was black. It's just silly stuff that there's no reason for it. And I like to move on. Everybody move on and be happy instead of trying to, the other thing is misery loves company.
Yes.
And some people just have to do that. They want everybody to be miserable. And that's never been me. And I'm not going to do that. I'd rather make people around me happy.
Yep. Going forward.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Your turn.
No. You're saying, good. You go. You were saying.
No, I'd rather see, and if I can help them even earn or get involved in different businesses, I do it.
Yep. 100%. You're a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
Going forward, we're going to be doing a Q&A. I'm going to be getting a lot of questions in from this area that are going to want to ask Larry questions, so that we're going to have a show again. And I got a personal question for Larry. You're going to just send them to me, and then I'm going to ask Larry on the air. But you're in AC in Jersey now.
Yeah.
You're getting a little gambling. You're taking some action. What do you think about our Knicks?
Well, I put a bet on them.
Okay.
When the playoffs started.
Okay.
After one of the games, what they did to Philly. Okay, it wasn't the Detroit, it was the Philly. When they really dismantled them, and people were thinking that Philly could beat them. There was a couple of games where they just scored 140 points, and I saw them clicking. If you watch them move the ball around the court, it's just amazing. They look like they're playing kids. It's like Globetrotters against the Boston Shamrocks. So I got them at a good price. Now, we were talking before, you're not going to get any price on them now. So it's too late. But I think they'll beat San Antonio.
Okay.
I'm not sure they can beat OKC if they're healthy. OKC is just, they're deeper. They're a little bit deeper. They go 10 deep. It doesn't matter. Their 10th player is a star. It seems that way. But let me tell you something. As good as they're playing, and there's got that momentum and that New York vibe behind them, it goes far. So
they got great chemistry right now.
Yeah,
they do.
But I'm also, listen, I'm not only here to gamble. I did karaoke the other night.
Okay.
I won the big banana. I won the best star of the night.
Did you really?
Yeah. Next time when I'm home, I'm going to show you the prize they gave me, the big banana, whatever it was. I got it on my desk. I love that time. I love having a good time. I sing, I kid around. I do Tom Jones. I do Elvis. There's also a 70s, 80s nightclub.
Oh, wow.
And it's plays the old music that I like. And they have videos up from the old days, like Staying Alive and Saturday Night Fever. And almost every time I'm in there, somebody approaches me that recognizes me.
Wow.
Small world. It happens
Yep.
a lot to me, and they're always so gracious and nice, and they want to talk to me, and so, and there's a lot of great restaurants here. You got
there are.
You got the Palm, Il Verde. They're only open weekends, so that's not going to work for me this time. But there's a lot to do, and now the weather's nice today. It's been rainy all week, but it's nice. We'll go walk the boardwalk, have lunch, and I've been meeting different people every day. My sister and brother-in-law came. You saw my brother-in-law brought me a cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee over there. Yep.
Who else? My friend Craig is coming. My fellow hitman from The Irishman.
Yep. He's coming.
Became great friends. He's working real hard on getting something done for us too with the book. As far as a series or a movie. I got the documentary that we're going to be working on in August. So I may be back here again or in this area. We're not sure how we're going to. They're working on all that.
Great.
Logistics and all the words they use. So Jimmy was going to come, but just like the night we hit Nikki Black, he had a babysit. So he's babysitting his granddaughter today. On the Nikki Black hit, we had to babysit his daughter. Right after it was done. It was amazing. And it's in the book. It's crazy stuff. But that was just a little, what are we going to do? We had to go babysit and have a drink after that. So a couple of other, came to see me, Mike Dowd.
Oh, Mike Dowd. Okay. I know Mike. Yeah, Mike Dowd. Wow.
My other friend, Mike Jamal, came to see me. He lives here in Jersey. So I don't think I'm leaving anybody out, but we have that happens every time I come. Yeah. Each day, a different group of old friends and family will come. And so it's a nice week.
When are you heading back? What day? I'm going
to check out tomorrow.
Okay.
And we take an easy trip. We drive. We used to take Spirit. It was a nonstop. So it was beautiful. Now they're closed down. They want me to stop in Charlotte. Then they want me to stop in Boston. And I'm not doing that. By the time all those stops, I'll drive and I'll be there. So, but we take 2 nights. We find different places. There's a great place, National Harbor. It's called Oxon Hill. Okay. So it's the Baltimore area. Wait till I tell you this story now. You're going to love this. But the same thing. There's the Gaylord Palms. There's beautiful hotels on the bay or the harbor. And there's fantastic restaurants. There you go. You're back. I lost you for a second there. Yeah, we're back. And a lot of places we stop at, but we take our time. But last year when I went and I stopped at Oxon Hill, we're in a bar, my wife and I. Okay. And this one guy recognizes me. He's talking to me. He comes from Brooklyn, wound up becoming a Baltimore, Maryland cop. Okay. So we talked, and the reason he recognized me was from The Irishman. He saw articles and stuff, and this time we stopped a year later. And we walking up. Now he's in uniform, so I didn't recognize him because when I met him that night, he wasn't in uniform. Okay. He's there with another cop, and we're walking towards this bar, and it's empty. So I says, "This place open?" He says, "Yeah, you got to go inside." I says, "No, we would want to sit outside." And he says, "I know you." And then he said, "We met last year, remember?" I said, "Oh, yeah." So it's like a small world. It's funny. That's but we take our time. It's a nice leisurely trip. And I don't mind doing it, a few times a year. We'll do it 3-4 times a year. Okay, that's cool, man. That's really great, man. So next time I'll give you a more advanced. Well, I did tell you I was coming, but I didn't know the exact dates. So next time I'll let you know. Yeah, me and John will come up there. And we'll have a good time, man. But again, we're going to do another show. We're going to do a Q&A where everyone's going to ask me questions, ask you questions. We're going to be a Q&A, ask Larry, whatever you want. Maybe we'll do some sort of contest for an autograph book or something. We'll figure out something. For sure. Yeah, that'd be good. Enjoy yourself, Larry. Gamble, win some money. I hope so. All right. And I'll see you soon. All right. Thank you very much. Take care now. All right.
Started from nothing. Jersey streets, we owned it. JZ pumping iron. Body builder coated. Beans on the course.